So I'm happy to be able to share this concept with you because it's foundational to your work and the outcome. This is a stool that I had made just for the purposes of an object lesson, and word pictures are worth a gazillion dollars. So instead of just talking about these principles, I try to drag something in that means something later. When I refer back to the three-legged stool, they got it. And the three legs are actually how we have found people get sick and get well. And there's three components, and there's some dominance of one component or the other. Now they're here to get the physical taken care of. They've got a complaint, they're not sleeping, they've got pain, they want that monkey off their back. So basically they're here to get that symptom, to get that problem that's causing their discomfort or dis-ease to go away. But there's two other legs of the stool that, if you're not aware of, could be driving you to distraction in the patient from not getting well. That's the emotional, mental part and the spiritual part. Now, these don't have to be addressed by you solely, but you have to be aware that there are people that can help with this, and after a while you'll learn it doesn't take a lot if you get them calmed down and sleeping well. Many times they'll seek that help out themselves. The other leg is physical. So we got three legs: the spiritual, the emotional, mental, and the physical. An example would be that you have a knockdown, drag-out fight with your wife. You say things that you would never say, but you've said them. And now you can't sleep. And your back starts hurting. And the day's not going well. And you come home, and of course, it's not going well at home. And you've got this dance that's going on. And you come in here and want sleep. That ain't going to happen unless we realize that there's two other legs of this thing that are causing a problem. One of them being, I see a lot of people have these ongoing wars with spouses or kids or relatives, and they just won't forgive them or let it go. It's not that you approve of what they did or that was right. It's just you're releasing them, that you're not going to torture yourself to death over what they did. You just, let it go. Let God deal with them. But the deal is that they're not letting it go, or we're not letting it go. I'm not letting it go. And that just eats on you. And case in point, my wife has given me permission to share this, but she had gone in for her first colonoscopy, and the guy came out, and I was in the waiting room, and he said, you need to get a surgeon. Your wife has serious cancer. And I said, we just came for the first colonoscopy. He said, I'm not kidding you. You got to get a surgeon. They're going to cut her rectum and colon out and give her a colostomy. This is serious. This thing is as big as an egg. Halfway on each side, the biopsies, we cut it in half. It just keeps going and going. So I and she talked about it, and we went back and basically brokered a deal with this surgeon. And but in the meantime, our pastor asked her if there was anything that was amiss, and she was having a real struggle with my son, who was out in California, and we had lost a daughter to suicide, as I'd mentioned, and they just weren't. He wasn't doing well with us, and we weren't doing well with him, and she was really trying to express that is a loose end in her life, that she just, it bothered her every day. It just eats her up that he can't, or she can't get together. And he said, did you hear what you just said? And so he handed her his cell phone, and he said, call and ask for forgiveness. You're the one that's hurting yourself, thinking you're somehow, going to work this out that way. And so she did. He actually forgave her and said, it's tough. We're both struggling here, but sure, I forgive you for whatever you're holding against me. And he was more than happy to do it. Well, we went back 3 weeks later, and the surgeon had agreed to try one more time to get the rest of the cancer out. He couldn't even find the place where they had done the biopsies. It was the miracle of miracles. And she has yet, she's years away from that now. And they've checked her stem to stern, PET scans, everything possible, nothing. And yet they were going to, change her life majorly. And so I'm glad that we dealt with this other leg. It was driving the show. They were going to deal with the physical problem, but what we were and are talking about is how unforgiveness can really be a problem. Now, I had a real anger problem and still do, but it's under control when I'm wearing my appliance because my tongue is up and out. I'm not living in adrenaline, but if something happens, it's there. But I'm not on edge and ready to have a hair trigger and fire as the first thing that happens. And so we're just talking about the awareness. You don't have to become a psychiatrist or psychologist. Shouldn't even do it. But you're aware much more of how we get sick. It's these other issues that the other two legs that affect the physical as well as the physical. You get a diabetic that's low on sugar, they start having some emotional, mental, spiritual issues just because the engine's not running good. You give them some sugar and it's over with. You give a patient that's choking some air and a lot of stuff clears up real quick. So we are the sum total of these things.